What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions. Welcome out, everyone, all of you great decoders around the world, wherever you may be, both male and female. My name is Logan, and this, of course, is Decode Your Reality. And today we're going to be breaking down and decoding the I am. The I am decoded. What is the I am? Is it me? Is it you? Is it just whatever created this reality? Is it coming down and becoming all of us? Are we just the God experiencing this reality? We say that I am this, I am that. What is the I am? Well, let's look to symbols, letters, the mystical arts. Like all of you know how I like to roll. Wanted to come out with some content. I've had this one shelved for a long time, and I wanted to bring some of my content, kind of get rid of some of this content I have. I have so much. So let's get into this presentation. I am decoded. So here are the topics. Going to keep it short and sweet. In the zero position, the intro, which is what I'm doing now. You hear the Om, the great Om. Starts with the letter O. Number 1, 3, 6, 9. And then number 2, alphabet. You ever notice that the word alphabet has the word alpha in it? You ever noticed that before? I never noticed it until today. The alphabet, the masculine alphabet, the words that we speak. And then, of course, what did you see? I got that. I didn't include that in here, but I do have that in here. So let's get started on the first topic, ladies and gentlemen. Buckle up. Get yourself settled in. This is going to be a fun one. It's going to be pretty short, I'm sure, because I don't have a lot of slides. But here it is, 3, 6, 9. And I showed this. A lot of you are catching on. You've made your own slides. You've shown this. I found this a few years ago by just taking the periodic table and just having fun spelling out words. And bam, there it was. The I am, and the connection to Tesla. When you do the alchemy of iodine and americium, one's a natural element, one's a synthetic element. You get this 369. You add up iodine and americium using the trusty calculator right here. It's going to give you 369.965. How about that? Right there. So is the key to the universe tied to alchemy? Well, if you're an alchemist, you know what that means, but there's the 369.965. It's really interesting. So let's keep going. So what I decided to do was take these two elements tied to the 369 from the spelling of I am with these iodine and americiums and break them down in numerology. So on the left here, we have iodes, which is in the Greek, which is where iodine came from. So I decided to go back as far as I can to the original and break it down with the Greek, and there it is. It's the 68, and then americium, of course, was made in the United States, and it's the number 27. There's the great dragon that got hurled down, tied to currency, but when you add up the 68 plus 27, there you get the 95. Again, it just goes right back to the 95. The am, I am. And there's the 95. That's how beautifully orchestrated this construct is. This is the source code right here, ladies and gentlemen, playing out in front of your very own eyes. So let's keep going. So I decided to, of course, what I like to always do is take the two numbers that are contained or separated by the decimal and add them up. So 369 plus 965 is going to give you 1334. Bringing that into the string of pi, bringing that into some mathematics. Look at where it's found. The 1,660. There's that 666. It's not just 666. It's the 1,666, but it still is connected to the great beast, the 1,666. And then the step below on there. And I'm going to come back to this. I know it's not exact, but I'm going to show you why this has major relevance to the I am. What the Greeks called the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh, the Tetragrammaton. But that 1334, let's look into it because I decided to look at the sine and cosine waves. Please check out my How to Decode using sine and cosine waves if you haven't watched that one yet. If you're interested in stepping up your game and going deeper into the code instead of just using basic decoding and connecting words to numbers. Sine and cosine waves are the measurements of each of these numbers by the frequencies or vibrational frequencies they give off, measured through pi. And the sine and cosine wave, when you add these up, thank you, numberempire.com, look at what outcome it gives you. It goes right back to 1/2 of the I am. See how powerful the sine and cosine waves are? It's the 126, which is the weight of iodine. How about that? There's the connection. There's the connection. You're going to see the 95 again, but let's go a little bit further with this sine and cosine wave. So I, brought it here on the screen, and it's the 58 and the 68 from the sine and cosine wave found from 1334, found from I am, added up using the I am, both sides of the decimal. Starting out with I am. So I just want to kind of go back to that. But when you take the 58 from the sine wave and the 68 from the cosine wave and then bring it right back into alchemy again, this is how valuable alchemy is on the world stage. This is where it's at. Besides the mathematics and pi and phi, you got to use the alchemical elements to figure this out, to get the source code. It's cobalt and erbium. Cobalt, of course, being tied to kobold, which means goblin, tied to the number 19. There's the puppet master right there, tied to Jupiter. But then we have erbium. Erbium is going to be a numerology of 20. But when you add these up, when you add 167.259 and 58.933, you're going to get 226.192. But there it is, the 226. We connect it to Ra. So now we go deeper. We go deeper, and you can see that the I am found from iodine in the Americium ends up leading to radium and the Egyptian god called Ra. Now we go back thousands of years, predating any of the religions out there, predating Christianity, where the I am came from. It's Ra, and it's element 88. Someone asked me to do a decode on this. I am probably going to be doing a decode on the number 88 because it is freaking big. And then if you take, the 88 protons of radium and you add it to the 53 protons of iodine, 53 and 88, you know what that's going to equal? 141 pi. All right, so let's keep going a little bit further with this. When I add up the protons of iodine and americium, we did the weights. Now we want to do the protons, 53 and 95. Going over to the trusty calculator, we get 148, and then I want to fact check that in the string of pi. Look at where the 148 appears at the 103rd decimal digit, 103, 104, 105. It's going to be tied to the great architect of the universe, but we go right to Chaldean and the straight up 26 letters of our English alphabet. This is why Chaldean is so special. There's the match. Bam. Tied to the I am, you see? I'm not saying this is the end all and that's it, but Chaldean, if you're a new beginner in decoding, I would suggest just using Chaldean. Create your foundation. It's one of the most important ciphers in decoding. It's a shame that a lot of decoders that think they know what they're doing are not even using it. I don't know why, but anyways, let's keep going with this. I decided also to take the 53 and 95 from iodine and americium, the protons, and I wanted to bring each of them into the string of pi. Where are they located? Where's the 53 located in the string of pi? Right here. It goes 10 digits in. Of course, 10 is tied to the letter Yod in the Hebrew alphabet. Y is always substituted for I. And then the 95, here it is. It's 32 words. Or 32 numbers, excuse me. There's the 95. Of course, 155 in the string of pi is found at the 314th decimal digit. So we get 155 and 39. All these digits added up from the 53 and 95, and we get 194. And 194 is going to be tied to this number right here, 1181. 1181 is the 194th prime number. Do you want to see this? This is the source code, folks. You were like, what value does this have? Right here. The spelling out. We spelled out I am. How about spelling it out completely? I am that I am. When you do the alchemical representation, when you do the alchemy of all 6 of these elements, you get the 1181. How about that? You see how beautiful this source code is, folks? And then you're going to get into this scripture right here in the New Testament, John 1:1, and you notice that it's 18:1:1. It's a permutation. It's a mirror of this right there. And this scripture is right here. The Word was God. I am that I am. I am that I am. And the 20 is very important. 20 is tied to the word duality. That's the am. The I coming down and playing out duality whenever it wants to. Maybe playing out you at this very moment. You don't know it, you're never going to know it. But there it is. The I am and the 1181. So, and when we spell it out in Chaldean, the I am that I am, it's going to lead right back to the Yod again. See, Chaldean, I haven't shown this to anybody on the world stage in public, but I have found that Chaldean links so close to Hebrew / Aramaic. They're almost identical. And this is, this is why. I mean, look at this. 26 and 26. It's going to be tied to iron. The Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh came out around the Bronze and Iron Age. If you study your history, that's when it came out. Is that when was it a deity that maybe did it? Some people think that our reality got hijacked. Is it this deity that hijacked our reality? I don't know. But there it is. The I am that I am is tied to the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh. That's where it came from. That's where the origins of it came from. And we know we have iron in our blood. So is it the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh coming down and becoming man or woman, playing out its own game, to experience its own game? Maybe. It's a very good possibility. Let's get into the second topic now to finish up this presentation, the alphabet. Keep in mind, I said alphabet, it's the al. Remember, if you haven't seen my illumination decoded, please check it out because it's the al. It's the al, the alphabet. The al, it's a big deal, folks. Got to start looking at these words. So let's break down the alphabet using the Chaldean. I've already kind of shown that in a few slides ago, but there it is. 26 letters, 103. 103 is the 27th prime number tied to this word right here called current. The word currency is 27 as well. The word Catholic is 27 in Chaldean. And it's the great dragon. What is the great dragon that got hurled down? Currency. Electromagnetic currency. And it's tied to cobalt, which means goblin. And it has the two. The interesting part about this is when you go to the Royal Society of Chemistry to look at this element, as I have shown so many times, here's the element, here's the picture they choose. Look at the goblet in the middle, the pine cone at the top, and then what do you see on both sides? Two dragons. You see? That's why I know that this card deck that came out in 1988, these people were being used to create it because they weren't sitting down figuring Cobalt has the dragons there. Come on, folks. And then 58's Puppet Master. What is the Puppet Master? The I Am. What is the I Am? Well, you're starting to see what it is. And we use this language to define this reality. Mankind, in my opinion, is being used to create this reality. To what extent? I don't know. Gotta have fun with it. Gotta have fun with it. And there's, this is why Chaldean is so special. Because the alphabet is 103. It is the 27th prime number. Chaldean is 27. And this word currency, this is why Chaldean is so special. What about the English? A lot of people don't even use Chaldean. Probably because I use it, they don't like me. That's what I would probably bet on. But anyway, it's okay. Let's get into the English. 351, and there's the fish coming into play. 351 is a permutation or a number anagram of the 153. You know that story when Jesus told the apostles to cast your nets to the right side of the boat, catch your fish, and they caught 153 fish. And it's the 64th element, the GD element, the God element. This means simulation. Gadolinium equals 35 in Chaldean. Simulation equals 35. We're living in a simulation. We're living in a movie, folks. I mean, even the 153, if you go right here to the IHS, which is what the Society of Jesus uses, there it is. It's the 153, tied to Jesus. So remember who's defending the church, folks. No matter if you like that group or not, they're defending the Jesus Christ character. They kill for it. So what's up with that? There's something to it. Something deeper than what we know, than what we speculate on. Think about these things through logic and discernment. People kill for that name. Something to it, folks. Something deeper and more mysterious and more occult. Not just, it's the most pure thing in the entire world. Well, I suggest you take a deeper look. But there is the permutation, the 351 and the 153. What about the full reduction? Well, you go right back to the I Am. Full reduction, which is the Pythagorean 1 through 9. The Pythagoras cipher. Breaking the English ordinal down to its single digits, it's the 126. And that's there we go back to the iodine. Remember, Yeshua equals 53 in the Hebrew. The I Am. And then the 126, the prime, the number it's tied to, 701. Told you we'd come back to the Tetragrammaton. Where does the 701 appear in the string of pi? Well, at the 166 decimal digit. Bam! There it is. Tetragrammaton, which is the Yod He Vav He, folks, which to me is Yaldabaoth, which to me is going to be Jesus and Lucifer. You can call it Mazda, Allah. What name do you want to give it? It has them all. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. It owns them all, man. It's a big Ponzi scheme. We just got to celebrate because there's nothing you can do about it. How about the English Sumerian? I don't even use these, but there's the measurement of the moon, 2106. Just not exact, but that's what science says or NASA says. Not saying it's true, but there's the connection to the moon. The I Am certainly part of the moon, right? Part of the constructs of this reality. What about the primes? Now, this is a very, very interesting cipher that I am really enjoying. It's becoming a favorite of mine. It's becoming a favorite of mine. Boy, is it important. So it's the 1161 tied to the golden ratio. There's the golden ratio in there. And, remember when this Bible came out, the authoritative Bible. Now, keep in mind, folks, if you're a fan of theology, the Roman Catholic Church, they promulgated the Bible on the world stage. You can use any version you want, but the Roman Catholic Church, in the year 382, I think, AD, they decided what they wanted to come out with and all the verbiage, but it doesn't matter. You can change things all you want. It doesn't matter. It's just the architect going to change it. It's all going to lead back to the same origins. But this thing came out 1611. I mean, you see the permutation there with the primes. Primes are a big deal. Standalone numbers, divisible only by themselves. Very, very important. So I decided, like, this is the authoritative, this Bible. King James Bible equals 341 in the primes. So, the very important thing to look at is the very centerpiece at the top that you can barely see. There is the Yod He Vav He. That's why if you're talking about the Vatican, it just means Judaism, because you can't have the New Testament without the Old. So if you say, well, I'm a Christian, well, not really. You're actually Jewish. Sorry. Let's just call it a duck. Okay? Because if you don't have the Old Testament, you don't have the New, you don't have the New, you don't have the Old. You're Jewish. That's just the way it is, folks. If you're a Christian, if you want to label yourself that way, they're all the same. You might as well just get over it. But it's the 26, which I showed. And then, when you bring it into when you bring it into the English with this, what I wanted to do was, I wanted to match, to keep it very authentic. So Yod He Vav He is 10-5-6-5. So I want to bring it into the English and match those letters. It's J-E-F-E, Jeffy, which I know doesn't make any sense, but I'm matching it up to show you how this works. What's really interesting is when you take the Yod He Vav He, it's really fascinating. Let me go back to this. You see, in Hebrew, it's read right from left. So the 10 would go here. So I decided to mirror it. And when you mirror the Yod He Vav He in numberempire.com, look at what it becomes, a freaking prime number. When you flip it and read it from right to left. And then if you do the sine and cosine wave right here, it becomes pi. Not only does it become pi, but you get osmium right here, the Wizard of Oz, 76, terbium right here, and also zinc, which is the 30th element tied to the demiurge. Demiurge meaning Yaldabaoth, meaning the Yod, pi. I mean, folks, this is the source code. I could just keep going and going with this stuff. But I want to bring this into the primes, because this is what we're talking about. The King James Version through the alphabet. So we started with the alphabet, 1161. This is a permutation of that when it was released, created in 1604. We started with that. We want to match it. And now we want to bring it into the primes and match it. And look at what number outcome we get. 64. How many squares are on a chessboard? That's why I got it in the background. 64. So I really hope by now, those of you that have been just, well, it's Masonic, and I hope you've gotten rid of those kind of ideas, because they're ludicrous and ridiculous. Black and white doesn't mean the devil. And if you're slinging the word Luciferian around, you certainly don't know what that word means. I have a decode coming out on that. I'm going to shed some light on what it means. 64 squares on a chessboard, 64 possible codons in our DNA. 64 is tied to what element? The GD element. Tied to the fish and Jesus. Jesus is in this. The apostles in the fish story and the Yod He Vav He, they're all in here. So how evil can a checkerboard floor be? Well, it's just people are just regurgitating information that they don't even know what they're talking about. You hear these people. And again, these are my opinions, and I'm being very raw and candid here. But we got to get this right, folks. 64 squares in a chessboard does not mean the devil, okay? And if you're watching a movie and you see the checkerboard floor, it doesn't mean it's evil, folks. Certainly far from that. But it's tied to the GD, gadolinium, of course, 35, tied to the simulation. We're in a movie. This is all theater. Playing a game, this is the game of chess. And again, this is how beautiful the primes are. I mean, I have a course coming out. I'll get it back to the second. But when you take the word prime and you put it into the primes cipher, you get 189. Look at what it leads to. You bring it into alchemy, it freaking leads to the Wizard of Oz. It's osmium. Osmium has several isotopes. 189 is one of its observational stable isotopes, meaning it's not a radioisotope. If you know what you're doing with alchemy. And then the 189 in the string of the golden ratio, golden from the light, from the sun, from the simulation, Look at what digits it occupies. 74, 75, 76. Well, there's the 76 it ends at. 74, wolfram, tungsten, the big W. 75, rhenium, which is tied to the speed of light, and Lucifer, the light bringer, tied to the God, folks. And it's the Wizard of Oz right there. And you get Yaldabaoth in there because it's 189 and Yaldabaoth's 89. And I did a decode on the Wizard of Oz. I showed this, tied to the great architect of the universe. Tied to the great architect of the universe. So I will encourage all of you, if you can make this, Tuesday, August 16th, I have a how-to series, my how-to series, another live I'll be doing on how to decode using the primes, the prime numbers, and prime cipher and numerology. This is going to be a really fun one. I am going to show you some things I guarantee you have never seen before. And you can incorporate this into your decoding. This is going to be a gem of a podcast. Please join me if you can. Here are the timestamps for when to join. It will be recorded, so it'll be on my channel if you can't make the live. This will open up so many doors for a lot of you that are looking to go work through the primes and give a lot of clarifications on things. Let's get back to the alphabet. We're almost finished with this. Thanks for sticking with me. What about the septenary? Putting all 26 letters in the septenary, you get the 98. It's going to lead to the number 8. 8 is the 19. 19 is the 8th prime number. 19 is tied to the sun, but 98, when you bring it into the string of pi, occupies 2 digits, 80 and 81. What's 80 and 81 added up? 161. What is 161? The golden ratio. Goes back to the Bible again. But it's tied to, in Hebrew, in the original biblical text from the Torah, it's the tree of life and tree of knowledge. Here it is, tree of life and tree of knowledge, 80 and 81, right there. So what is the tree of life and tree of knowledge tied to? The alphabet. The words we use to speak the spells to create this reality. That's exactly what this means. And remember, if you saw my lead to gold, over here would be lead, 82. Over here would be gold, 79. What's sandwiched in between lead and gold? Not only is it the golden ratio, but it's the tree of life and tree of knowledge, which is where we get sandwiched in between. And I feel like this is the way out. Tree of knowledge. That's why it's so demonized. Don't want it. You don't want it. Don't bite from that tree because you'll die. Yeah, that's off limits because it's the way out. But anyway, how about last but not least, how about the keypad? I don't even use this, but look at how crazy this is, folks. This is the source code. 148. You add up the protons of I am. 53 and 95. There's the burning bush. If you watch the show Lucifer on Netflix, you know what Thomas John Ellis is, the person they casted to play Lucifer? In one, I cannot remember what episode, what is it, but he ends up joking when he's out on duty working with the detective. He said to somebody, "You remember that burning bush?" And I said, "I am that I am." That was me. That was me. Oh, I can't remember the episode. Maybe somebody can leave it in the comments so I can find it again. I'll find the timestamp when he said that. I guarantee that's scripted and sourced. But anyway, there it is, the 148. I mean, you can't, folks, this is clear. This is the source code using all these different ciphers, keypad, septenary, Chaldean, English, the Pythagorean. I mean, it's all right there. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, what did you see? So it's kind of rather short one, not too in-depth. The primes is where it's at. Please join me for my course, but I'd love to hear what you saw. Keep your comments coming down in the comment section below. Keep them cordial though. Try to add some value to this. That's what I'm looking for. Like, what did you see? Try to add some value. What value can you add to this presentation? I don't see it all. So a lot of you are embedded in these decodes. I learn a lot from other decoders. There's a lot of great decoders out there. And a lot of you are in a lot of my decodes. So a big shout out to all of you great decoders out there. Keep your comments coming. I appreciate all your donations, your Patreons. Those of you that are interested in readings, I have a few dates left in August. I am going to be taking over a month off. I'm going to be traveling, so I will not be doing readings for the entire month of September. So if you're interested, you're going to probably have to wait until October unless you catch me before I leave in August. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for today. My name is Logan. I said this is decode. My name is, I haven't done a presentation in a little bit. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you later.